Hey guys, this is Miko from ML Sound Lab and I have something very cool to show you. This is GroveBass by Submission Audio. Check it out. Okay, this video is actually long overdue. My very good friends at Submission Audio and obviously Simon himself sent me the GroveBass plugin to check out, and coincidentally I've been kind of away from this place where I have all my basses and stuff, so I've been actually using GroveBass for pretty much everything quite recently. I used GroveBass for the bass in the Black November 2021 song, so I thought why not show you how I used it. So if you're completely new to what GroveBass is, Submission Audio has been making some awesome bass plugins, and this is their latest and greatest one. You can do so many awesome things in here. Essentially, if you do not own a bass, or even if you do own a bass but you don't know how to play it properly, or if your bass sound just isn't that great, you can use GroveBass by Submission Audio, and this will give you professional bass tones instead, and you don't have to rely on your bass skills or the lack of tone in your bass. It's a very comprehensive plugin. Personally, I use it in a very simple way. If I have any problems ever with these kinds of plugins, I tend to kind of struggle making them sound like a real bass player. So I actually just turn the new humanize function all the way up to make it sound as human as possible. And the coolest thing in this plugin is that you can now assign things to be played on specific strings. So in real life, if you're playing bass, many times you don't really use more than one or two strings, or at least in the rock genres that I'm personally playing in. So for example, many times when you're using these kinds of plugins, if you'd play this note, you'd actually play it on a real bass here. And that is a very different sound. That is warm, full, and this is bright and clanky. Something that I personally would never use. I'd probably rather just play these parts on maybe the top 2 or 3 strings. So what you can do with Submission Audio's GroveBass is force it to use the thicker strings. So instead of playing these clanky chanky notes up here, you can actually use the notes here that are much more full sounding and much more of a bass tone that personally I go for. On top of that, you have clean sounds, you have overdriven sounds, distorted sounds, and lead sounds. These are all kind of different kinds of tones. Let me just quickly demonstrate them. So this is the clean DI bass. And this is the clean sound of the plugin. That's pretty cool. Then you have the overdriven sound. And there you can actually see that I chose and opted to have those clanky notes in that riff. And that's the cool thing, you have control over where you'd play that note. And then you have this lead zone that I'm not sure what it's for, but Simon probably does. By the way, Simon is one of the nicest guys I know on this planet, so just a side note. Now, the way I used this is actually by just using the DI bass. And this is a very full range type of a bass guitar. So you have every kind of sound imaginable. You can EQ it, you can process it to sound like whatever. I used our plugin Amped Bass with it, and Amped Bass Rack is what I chose to use, and I used a Ribbon 121 mic to make it sound super fat. So what I'm personally doing is actually, sorry Simon, making this not sound that much like Simon does. So this is much more fatter kind of a basic rock sound, what you'd say. So And once again, this is a very simple preset. I'm using the compressor pedal here on the pedal board. These are the settings. I'm not using the DI section of amped bass. Very bright settings for this, but remember that I'm using just a Ribbon 121 that is basically only low end. So ultimately, this is the sound that I get by using GroveBass and amped bass together in this mix. And what I get is a very pristine, clear, in-tune bass, which is very rare these days. It just makes the guitar sound so much better. So let me kind of demonstrate the guitar sound and what the bass actually adds in. Just guitar. There's space for bass in my guitars always, so this is why it sounds so good together. Okay, let's have a listen to the entire mix. Okay, and that's pretty much it. This is GroveBass by Submission Audio. Simon Grove, probably best known as the bass player for Pliny. One of the nicest guys that I know in the industry. Thank you so much, Simon, for giving me this to check out. Thank you, Ermin, as well. Go check out Simon's plugin, Ermin's company, Submission Audio. They make some awesome plugins just like this one. Go get them now. Bye bye. See you on the next one.